Ranni the Witch, the daughter of Rennala and Radagon, who was once considered an Empyrean, to become a new god of the world until she betrayed the Golden Order and stole a piece of destined death on the night of the Black Knives. She then studied under the Snow Witch Renna, where she became a master practitioner of cold sorceries. And she is back today to display that mastery by beating Elden Ring using only cold sorceries. However, in the base game of Elden Ring, it only has 5 cold sorceries, and only 3 of which even deal direct damage. This underwhelming spell list does not equate to a mastery of cold sorceries. So instead, Ranni will be beating the game in the Convergence mod, an overhaul mod that changes many facets of the game, including classes, weapons, spells, and bosses. One of those new classes is a Frost Witch class that adds a plethora of new and interesting cold sorceries that can better display the prowess of a powerful sorceress like Ranni. There are some other changes to the game as well, which can be seen along the way of Ranni's journey. So for now, I'll send it over to her and get this run started.
We are going to be playing the Convergence mod for Elden Ring, a large changing overhaul mod that changes many aspects of the game and overhauls many of the classes, weapons, and spells. And today we are going to be starting with, obviously, the Frost Witch class, and we will be using only our cold sorceries in order to beat the game, and it should be a fun and interesting run. So, without further ado, let us begin. So right away you will notice some different things about the game, such as giving us the physic flask as well as a whetstone right away and the crafting kit. And the usual starting door here is not the same as it is in the base game, as every class has a different starting area. And for the Frost Witch class here, we start here in Liurnia, outside Caria Manor, as you might expect. And the starting area for each class also comes with the first set of spells and equipment. And indeed, Ranni's staff. That is, of course, my staff. As well as an overhauled set of armor, with some visual updates, as well as thematic layering. These armor sets also give unique bonuses. In the case of this Frost Witch set, we get Int, Arcane, and reduces the cost of sorceries by 1%, and that is shared across all of these. The same things with the Intelligence, Arcane, and Sorcery FP usage. So they are more valuable as a set, and so it thematically goes with the types of builds that you would be working with. So that is nice. And we have our first set of spells here, which in this case is Freezing Mist, Ice Dart, and Frozen Armament. And we can take a look at the spells here. So Freezing Mist, pretty similar to how it works in the base game. Releases a cold mist before the caster. This sorcery can be cast while in motion. Charging enhances the range of the mist. Pretty simple, pretty standard. Ice Dart is essentially a glidstone pebble, but of the frost variety. Fires a small icy projectile, dealing damage on impact. This is greatly augmented on frostbitten targets. And Frozen Armament simply adds frost scaling to a melee weapon, which we will not be using, so this one will not be useful for us yet. But Ice Dart and Freezing Mist will be our primary damage dealers for now until we get our next set of spells, which we can find here in these useful notes that they give us. The Path of the Frost Witch always has the locations of the next level of spells. So the Shimmering Rune of Frost, which would be the next level, the intermediate level, is found in Caria Manor, which is where we are, so we can get our first set of spells by going into the manor here and getting a few more powerful spells before venturing out into further areas of the world. And of course, the other spells are found in later areas of the game, such as the Glowing Rune of Frost, which is given by Ranni in her questline after acquiring the Fingerslayer Blade. And then the next ones are found in Castle Sol and then Chelona's Rise, which are later game areas. And of course, the Snow Witch set is also found in Renna's Rise as it is in the base game, the Snow Witch set being simply an upgraded version of our current Frost Witch set. And in case you have not noticed, unlike in the base game, these sorceries scale off of more than just intelligence. They scale, in fact, off of intelligence and arcane. So there are now 2 separate scaling stats for each branch of sorcery or incantation, just to make it a bit more interesting and focused as far as variety goes. So that out of the way, we can begin our journey. And we also have Torrent right away. We do not have to speak to Mona in order to receive Torrents. So we can grab the first grace here. And one final thing we can get as another interesting fact here is the remnant crafting is actually how you get all of your talismans and some other useful items. So obviously we started with the enchanted remnant here, we took that as our keepsake, and enchanted remnants are for magical based items. Talismans that help for defense and magic and spells and such. So that seems to have been the most useful one for our build currently. And for now, I think we will go with the Godfrey icon for being the most general use icon talisman for our damage output with charged spells, which we are likely to use quite often. So with that, let us head into Caria Manor and get our next set of spells. So naturally, our first boss encounter here will be against Loretta, which is certainly an unusual first boss to encounter. And I do believe she still has quite high magic resistance, so we will have to see if we are capable of defeating her with our current outputs. Which is over here. Alright, and here we are. Let's see how it goes against Loretta. Seems to be going alright so far. Thankfully this Ice Dart skill is quite fast. And very spammable, thankfully. Try to get her back into the freezing mist. I think we have just enough FP here to finish her off. Very good, Tarnished. Not too bad at all. Ice Darts is a very quick-hitting attack, so that is very nice. So with that, we get a faint relic. which gives us a slightly more powerful talisman. As you can see here, we will go and craft it. And here, these are the ones that give general damage buffs. In this case, we are going to take the magic damage, of course, as the other ones do not apply to our damage. So that is just a good general damage buff. And we will also use our Shimmering Rune of Frost to get our next set of spells, in which we get Ice Crag Arrow, Renner's Barrier, and Frozen Spikes. Very interesting. So now if we go to memorize our spell, we can memorize one more. Ice Crag Arrow. The glintstone serves as a conduit, latching a mass of cold magic. This sorcery can be cast repeatedly and while in motion. Renner's Barrier conjures a large spherical barrier of frost that repels enemies that touch it and builds frostbite. The barrier also deflects magical projectiles, lasts for 30 seconds. Only one barrier can be conjured at a time. This just seems like an upgraded version of the Freezing Mist that has defensive properties as well, so perhaps we should exchange Freezing Mist for Renner's Barrier. And Frozen Spikes. Strike your staff down at your feet, freezing the ground and causing numerous icicles to rise in a fan shape in front of you, dealing damage to foes. This damage is greatly augmented on frost-bitten targets. Charging increases range and potency. That seems like a useful skill. So perhaps we take Renner's Barrier here for the frostbite build-up, and we can take Frozen Spikes perhaps for more of an AoE ground clearing spell, and keep Ice Darts. Also, if you have noticed, the FP bar actually goes back up over time, unlike in vanilla. So now we don't have to worry as much about losing a lot to FP.
A tarnished here. Thou must have some business in mind to come all this way, though I have no memory of inking thee an invitation. No reason in particular, thou claimest. Intriguing. Then mayhaps fate hath steered thee to this encounter. Wilt thou enter into I am the witch Ranni. I stole death long ago, and search now for the dark path, that I might one day upend the whole of it, and rid the world of all that came before. Well, I see.
So now we begin our full journey into the open world here. And this game is situated very differently now. At Erdtrees, there are actually teleporters that can take you to any other region without having to travel there. You can even make it all the way to the mountaintops. So we will start by making our way down the Urnia, and we can get to our first Erdtree over here. But first we will take a trip up the tower here to grab another memory stone so that we can, of course, increase our spell slots, as we will be needing quite a few of them. And we got another frostbite proc there. Very good. was using the wrong spell, but nevertheless, it got the job done. And defeating the Erdtree avatars also gives you these physic remnants, which, if you can guess, is how you get the physic tiers. Different kinds depending on which kind of physic remnant drops. So the essence physic tier is your typical stats: strength, dex, intelligence, arcane, ones that boost 2 at a time, but by less. And so for us, obviously we want intelligence and arcane, so that is naturally the first one we can take here. The elemental physic remnant, of course, gives you the specific element types. Naturally, we will be taking the magic shrouding cracked tier. So here, as stated, we can go to any area pretty much in the game. But naturally, I think the most simple answer is to go first to Limgrave and clear out more of that area. And we can start in East Limgrave or even Weeping Peninsula. We'll start here in East Limgrave. And once you are teleported, you actually teleport to the other Erdtree, which is guarded by yet another area boss. In this case, some of the Erdtree avatars have even changed to being augmented Zamor warriors, as you can see here. And they can be quite a challenge if you are not prepared. They can be quite adept at dodging magical attacks, so you have to be a bit careful. See, quite dangerous indeed. But thankfully we were able to get out of that without too much problem. But they can be a very tough opponent. And there is no real requirement for doing any particular quest line or order of events. So it gives you a lot more freedom, which is quite nice. The only thing you must complete, however, is getting 5 forge keys, essentially by defeating the remembrance bosses, or some of them at least. They will drop forge keys, and you need at least 5 of them from separate areas of the game in order to complete the game and actually finish. And just one more attack here. There we go.
Tana, why are you here?
Now we can see our friend Sorceress Selene.
But one must. I was as a revive. You still with? Very well, but I refuse to anticipate.
And she does not teach spells this time. She has items for sale, including an enchanted remnant, a sacred tear, a golden seed, and a memory stone. So Selene is actually quite important here, as we will need pretty much all of these items eventually. I think we can at least use one of these golden runes and get ourselves another golden seed.
So, to now.
Our boss? And there we go. And thankfully we get a combat remnant out of that. Alright, let's go see what we can get out of this combat remnant. Well, of these, I would say our best use talismans here could be potentially the ritual shield talisman or the ritual sword talisman, depending on if we want some defense or attack. I do fear that, due to our lower defenses, the ritual shield talisman could be quite useful, since it definitely prevents us from taking a obscenely large hit that would otherwise potentially one-shot us. So I think we grab this talisman for now as our first defensive talisman. And we can apply that. Oh, and I just noticed we forgot to apply our magic damage talisman. So now we have that one as well. Very good. Alright, so let's take on Margit. I think we should have a fine time here. We put up our barrier and spam him with our ice arrows. Alright, he has his first frost rock. That's good, we should be doing more damage. This Margit is quite beefy, however. He has a lot more HP.
Thou art of passing skill. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins.
Let's put up another barrier here. Reset our frost proc. Let's see if we can hit him with our frozen spikes. That was pretty effective. Let's try another one. Come now, Margits. We are out of blue flasks. So we will have to wait for our FP to passively recover now. He is almost defeated, however. One more ice dart should do it. There we go. And we get another memory stone and another faint relic remnant, which is nice. Perhaps we should start putting a bit more of our runes into some mine, as we were running quite low on our FP there, and it will be significantly easier to dispatch of them from there on. And of course, playing from a... Alright, I think it's time we make a quick trip into the Limgrave Tunnel, where we can grab a few smithing stones, so that we may upgrade our weapon, as it was clear in that Margit fight that our damage was falling off a bit against the mainline bosses, and I do fear that Godric will be a bit of a brick wall for us if we do not have more damage going into the fight. So let us get that upgrade.
Your arms.
And we need one more large smithing stone to get +5. So perhaps we make a quick stop down to Caelid to pick up those smithing stones. Time in Caelid for now. Let's see, I suppose we can attempt to fight the Putrid Avatar. Hopefully it is not too difficult. That was very dangerous. Alright, we need him to stop hitting us. That would be nice. For just a moment even. Alright, there we go. He was smacking us around a little bit, but ultimately we were able to handle it. Let's see, perhaps we should grab a few more golden seeds. Great, so we had many golden seeds to use. So let's go 6 and 4. And hope that is enough of a ratio to take care of Godric. Drink our physic flask, and head into the fight. That did not good. Get that frostbite back. There we go. Okay, we have one more mana flask. Yes, you have indeed. Although I do have very little mana right now, and this will draw out the fight a bit more than I would like it to. I now just have to wait for my mana to come back. There is really nothing else I can do here, unfortunately. And unfortunately, we were clipped by the attack. It is not a problem. So long as we give ourselves one more mana flask, we should be able to complete this fight relatively simply. Let's put up another barrier here to make sure we can get the frostbite back again. Oh yes, very good. That was one more hit. Come on now. There we go, Tarnished. Much better attempt that time.
One day, we'll return to
He was only able to sneak in one attempt that time.
bathed in rays of cold
truly pathetic, Godric can hardly be called a demigod. It's almost an insult to the rest of us real demigods that have true power. However, I will take his remnants, which will give us a much better 7.5% magic damage increase. We have now gotten our first key forge. Here, the keystone of the forge. We need 5 of them, and we must get them from separate areas of the game from differing levels of bosses. But that is our first one, so that is always good. And now I believe our next order of business should be to head down into Notcron and grab the Finger Slayer blade for Ranni, so that we can get the next set of spells, as well as our Snow Witch set of armor, which will be an increase to both our spell damage and our stat scaling. Yes, here it is, Notcron. Now, of course, we must prepare for our fight with the Mimic Tier, in which we will simply not allow him to have a weapon. So I'm not going too well for the poor Mimic Tier, I'm afraid. There we go. And there we are. And we can collect our next set of spells and armor.
Ah, not blithe. It's even in my slum. It is in thy possession, is it not? My thanks. Soon must I begin my but my thanks. A strange gift, perhaps. I am certain I must thank Torres. You may leave. It was but brief.
And let's use the shimmering or glowing rune of frost. Armor of Rime, Ice Crag Burst, and Ice Shards. So let us see. Armor of Rime, cover your body in a protective cloak of frost, increasing all absorption by 15%, granting immunity to frostbite, and causing frostbite buildup to all nearby enemies. That sounds pretty useful. So that gives us a reliable frostbite proc, while also giving us defensive utility. Ice Crag Burst produces a frozen shockwave that deals damage, builds frostbite, and knocks back nearby foes. Charging increases the size and potency. I see, this seems a bit more of a utility spell. And Ice Shards fires numerous sharpened spikes of ice in a cone shape towards foes. This damage is greatly augmented on frostbitten targets. Charging increases range and potency. I believe this is a very good close-range spell for dealing high burst damage, so I certainly think we should take that one. And perhaps we do not need the barrier spell anymore if we have the Armor of Rime, which also starts setting off frostbite. And we will take ice shards as well. So let's see, let's stop in. Oh, that's right. We also forgot to check back in the other tower here at the Three Sisters, where our Snow Witch set should be. And there we go. We now have the actual Snow Witch set. So, taking a look at that, this increases Intelligence and Arcane by 2, reduces the FP cost of Sorcery by 2%, and increases the damage of Frost Sorcery by 1%. So it's just simply a better version of our current set. And if I'm not mistaken, the chest piece will have a similar effect. Of course, the chest piece is always doubled, so a 4% reduction in FP cost and a 2% increase in Frost Sorcery damage, as well as doubling the Intelligence and Arcane given to us. But I think we should get a few more things first. Into the tower. There we go. Very good. Right, so unlike in the base game, Redmane Castle has indeed changed as well, where the front gates are simply now open, and we have to run all the way through the castle, as opposed to taking a side path around, or Ray Lucaria Academy, for example. Now, of course, that does not mean we have to And here we are, now at the entrance to the first boss fight. Before we can challenge Radahn, we must take out one of the new bosses that have been added to Convergence. This is a very proficient gravity user. There is our frostbite proc, finally. That attack has quite the range. And there's another nice frostbite proc, and should be able to finish him off here. Very good. He was a formidable foe, but ultimately nothing that we can't handle. So with that, we now can begin the Radon Festival and attempt to take on Radon. So let us see how this goes. I am expecting this to be quite a tough fight, but it should not be impossible for us. Could not avoid that one. Another nice frostbite proc there. Alright, a very solid first half right there. If we can keep up this level of assault, we should be able to take him down. That is not good. No matter. Okay, we avoid the big attack. We were unable to avoid the big attack, but thankfully it did not cost us anything. but we mostly got out of that. And that is unfortunate. He pulled us in and we were unable to get from a safe distance. But it was a very good first attempt. We should be able to get it done if we are a bit more careful. Alright, not a problem. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. How did I not outrun the rocks? I think I went to the wrong direction, and that was why I got caught by the rocks despite running away from them. That was just a silly mistake on my part. Once again, being so weak and being unable to finish the fight there is tragic. Alright, we are down to our final heal. And we were not able to get enough attacks off. I was trying to stay close and use our Ice Shard spell, but perhaps I should have kept more distance. There we go. I had to really focus up there, Tarnished. That took all of my mental capacity. I will not lie, Radon is a very formidable opponent. I must respect him for what he has done. But I did come out victorious in the end. And let's see, we now have a glowing relic remnant, which will give us our 10% magic damage boost, which is very good. So we can replace our small one here of 5% with 10%, as these do indeed stack. So having both of them means we do have 17.5 magic damage increased. So that is very good. Now, I would like to get our next upgrade for our staff, the Snow Witch staff. But to do that, we will have to continue Ranni's quest and take on Astel, I believe. So perhaps we should go and do that now.
Oh, a dogged fellow, aren't we? Or is it merely thy habit to talk to dolls? Fine. Fine.
It is perhaps my habit to talk to dolls, yes.
But now the cat is out the bag. I cannot allow thee thy freedoms. Perform for me a service as recompense. Eliminate the baleful shadows which prowl these lands. The name of Ranni the Witch is already sullied by thee. I will not brook disobedience in this matter.
Well, all right, Ranni, if you say so.
O Shadow, thou art the last. Tell the two fingers that Ranni the Witch cometh to rend thy flesh with a fateful wound, ne'er to heal.
Let's see if we can take out this baleful shadow without too much issue. He is not particularly good at avoiding our attacks, thankfully, so we should be able to just keep hitting him with this. And it should get the job done.
Beautifully fought. My thanks.
And there we
It was
go.
more of a challenge than I envisioned. Now I can finally stand before them. This
Oh,
is
it was not a
farewell,
challenge
my
at
dear.
all, Ranni.
Tell Blythe and Iji.
Oh, this is long from farewell, I'm afraid. This is far from farewell, my friend. We still have business to attend to. So we can take off one of these for now. Take off this one. And put on that so that we do not die from scarlet rot while we are here. Now, another change that was made in Convergence is this entire region down here in the Lake of Rot. It is no longer in a completely empty space, as we now have to fight through this entire little ruins area, as well as defeat a boss in order to open up the pathway to the lower area where Estelle is. And the only real problem with this area is dealing with these very irritating archers that seemingly never miss. They can be quite the pain. shards, that's all right. Now, one concern I do have with Estelle is that I believe Estelle is immune to being frostbitten, which is where a large portion of our damage comes from, so I'm not sure how we will fare without the ability to proc a frostbite. Oh, I hit the wrong pot there. Let's get that one back. And there we go. Not a problem. He was such a big target for our ice shards. We made quick work of him due to those. That is certainly our most powerful spell, I would say. Alright, and here we are. Time to take on Estelle. Let us switch out this talisman again and get our damaging one back. And use our great rune here. And head into the fight. Let's take our physic. Armor up. And here we go. This one likes to teleport quite a bit. Alright, we were protected there by our defense and talisman. It's not going too bad. I only have a few flasks left. I think we should be able to get it done in this amount of FP. Okay, took a bit of damage there, but not a problem. Okay, our final mana flask, and he should be able to die here with no problems. There we go. I do say, Tarnish, that was quite a good fight. He was hardly even able to do anything to us. Even without the frostbite procs, we were able to keep up a very, very respectable damage output. Staying near him the entire fight even. Estelle was simply no match for me. A bit of a wild card. Hard to tame, it is a dragon after all. But here we are. Seems Ranni has already been through the worst. And come out victorious, as we always do.
So, it was thee who would become my lord. Perhaps I needn't have warned thee. I am pleased, however. Thou art a fitting choice. I go now to the night sky. It is there I shall find mine order. I bid thee travel the path of the Lord, and once all is done, we shall see each other once more.
Indeed we shall. I could not agree more. So now we must open the tower door by completing the puzzle, where we must find all of the great beasts. There is the third one. there is our Radiant Rune of Frost. So that gives us our next set of spells, including my Dark Moon, a very good spell, Avalanche, Zamor Ice Storm, and Snow Witch's Cunning, and Whiteout. So let us see what those ones do, and if we meet the requirements for them yet. So it appears that we do not yet meet the Intelligence and Arcane requirements, starting at plus 30, and going up to 33, 35, 37, and then 40. And I believe right now, with the armor, we are at 29. So we have almost enough to get that first spell, which is, of course, my Dark Moon spell. So that will be a good one to get as soon as we level up one more time. So we will set it in our skill bar, and we should soon be able to utilize it. Now, next is to get the Snow Witch staff that is in the other tower. This one, however, is up in the mountaintop of giants, so we have to make a bit of a trek up there, taking the teleporter. Yes, much better. This is the one we want to be at. So let's take on the Erd Tree. And just a bit more here should do it. There we go. Even with two of them, they are simply no match. Now this path tends to be dangerous, and it's important that we find our way up properly. Ah, just like that. And there we go. We managed to get our way up, only falling the one time, which is certainly better than falling this multiple times. And here should be our Snow Witch staff. Yes, we have 2 large smithing stones and a great somber stone. So now we would need another great somber stone to get it further. So that is pretty good. Have a nice upgrade to our weapon here. So we currently have 2 keystones of the forge, and we need 5. Let's see, the next enemy we could take out. Potentially going into Lanedale. That would likely be the logical destination. We could go and take on Renala, but it would be a bit tough due to her high magic resistance. I do not think that would be a very fun fight. We could probably get it done due to our frostbite doing so much damage. Alright, you know what? Let's go pay a visit to our dear mother. I think we actually will. So here we are, back at the academy. Let's go say hello to Mother Dearest. The troll here, as it is no longer the Red Wolf. They have replaced the Red Wolf of Radagon with Bors, the Night Troll. We can start off with a good Dark Moon here. We get a nice stagger there. And there we go. Oh, yes, another memory stone out of it. That is always good. And our friend Moongrum. Hello there, Moongrum. I do not have time for you. Goodbye, Moongrum. Goodbye, Moongrum. And one of the best changes that the Convergence mod made was putting this grace right here in front of the door. To avoid that horrendous run back that you usually have to make here. So let's see if our magic damage can deal with Renala's heavy resistances without too much of a problem. Alright, that was not too bad. Second half. So let's see, who is the better magic caster here, Mother? You or me? Okay. You want to throw a moon at me? How about I throw a moon at you? I think my moon is better. There we go. Sorry, Mother. I once again had to put you down and prove myself as the better sorceress. Now, we do not have to fight the Draconic Tree Sentinel here, as the doorway into Lane Dell is not blocked off as it is in the base game. However, I think we should fight him anyways. Yeah, once again, it's simply good to have the runes, and we might as well. Quite powerful. That is quite powerful. We are really having a good build thrown together here. Right, and now we can head into the sewers. Where we should be able to grab some more somber smithing stones to upgrade our staff further. There is a great somber stone. And another great somber stone. That is a normal smithing stone.
Anymore. Just lay out your...
And they created an entirely new boss. Which is the Knights Cavalry Captain. And throw another moon at him. See how he likes that one. And this should finish him off here. Very nice. Excellent fight. Excellent, I must say. So far, very little has stood in our way. And I do not see Morgoth's being a problem either. He did not like the idea of throwing a moon at his face, I could tell. And we got the phase change right on time. Let's throw a moon at him here, now that we have an opportunity.
Stained by my curse. Such an incompetent
Well, that was not good.
partiness shall not be forgiven.
And let's finish him off here. There we go. Sorry, Morgott, but not today. Not today, Morgott. So here now, we have the first, second, and fourth keystone, which means we need the third and the fifth. And I believe for the third keystone, we can take on either Vortisax or Rykard. And for the fifth, we can take on Melania or Moog, I believe. I'm not sure which others allow us to complete the key forges. I believe it does say at the foot of the forge, after defeating Fire Giant, and it's possible that Fire Giant himself gives us one of the keys. So that is something we will have to explore. Alright, well, since we're already here, we might as well take on Fire Giants. And then we can see which of the final bosses we have left to complete the forge keys. And that will be where we can pick up next time. Right, good damage there so far. And a clean first half transition. Ah, we even got the stagger. Very good. Perfect. The fire giant was no match for our frost spells. And who says that fire beats ice? I take that as an insult, thinking I can't compete with the element of fire just because I use frost. That is a weak mindset that I do not share. Alright, so let's finish this off by seeing which of these key forges I still need. And I still only have the first, second, and fourth. So this should tell me who I need to fight in order to acquire the final keys. Moog, Melania, Vortisax, or Placidusax. Alright. That seems reasonable. Well, hello there, Tarnished. We are back with our Convergence mod challenge run. And today we plan on finishing the run. And there is one order of business that we must complete before continuing onward. That is collecting our final set of spells. Which of course are here behind the Commander Nile fight in Castle Sol. Alright, and we are going to have to deal with these little ones first. At the same time we're dealing with Nile. As always. There we go. Now we can deal with the big man himself. That was an unfortunate dodge there. It's going pretty well so far. As long as we can keep up this level of attack. We'll get ourselves back to full health. Fire off a few quick ice darts. And we should be able to finish him off after this one. Very good, Tarnished. And there is our shining rune of Frost. So let's collect those spells. And we've gotten a Dueler's Moonblade, Frozen Phalanx, and Ice Crag's Spear. Sure, those spells will do quite well for us. And our next order of business is taking on another boss that gives us a forged key. And so, I believe we should take on Fortisax and Moog. I think those would be the best bosses for us to deal with. So let's head back to an Erdtree and get ready to teleport down to one of those places. But first, let's see about those spells. So a Dueler's Moonblade, I believe, is the same as it was in the base game. It's a very solid spell. Frozen Phalanx seems to be a similar spell to Glintblade Phalanx, but it deals frost damage instead, which is nice. That could be a useful defensive spell. And Ice Crag's Spear seems to be an upgraded version of our Ice Crag Arrow, with a 29 FP cost, so it is a bit more hefty on the cost. But perhaps it can replace our Ice Crag Arrow, and we will keep the simple Ice Dart for our quick release spell, just so we have a variety still. So let's replace Ice Crag Arrow, and we will take the Ice Crag Spear, and we will also give ourselves a Dueler's Moonblade. I believe those will be the spells that could be the most useful for us, with the rest of these as a complementary item. The Underground, where we can take on Fortisax and Moog. So we will first go to the Deep-Root Depths, where Fortisax is. So one of the changes in the Convergence mod is how the Deep-Root Depths is handled. It is not the same as it was back in the base game, and you no longer have to do Fia's quest line in order to access Fortisax. However, there is another requirement for fighting Fortisax, which we will have to clear. So, now, in order to access Fortisax, you must defeat the 3 minor bosses in this area, in which, after you defeat all 3 of them, it will unlock the door for Fortisax. And here is our enemy, the Crucible Knight Siluria. Good amounts of damage there. This Ice Crag Spear is quite good, and it even staggers him, which is very useful. There we go. Quality fight there, no problem at all. The Ice Crag Spear is a seemingly very powerful spell. And the next boss is right here behind this door. and it is a Dragonkin soldier. He can be quite troublesome if we are not careful. Just make sure we have full FP and health here. We can just avoid some of these attacks. It would be useful. And we will take our Armor of Rhine back up. One more should do it. There we go. It was a bit dangerous, but nevertheless, we were able to prevail once again. Alright, and now there is only but one boss left before we can take on Fortisax. Whereas before it was an otherwise relatively boring area to explore and underutilized. And we should finish him off here. But you have to be careful as that does not actually finish him off. You must, as with all skeletons, defeat them twice. And now we have access to Fortisax. There we go, and now we can use our Snow Witch's Cunning, which again, it gives us 5 FP recovery per second, which is fantastic. That is almost unlimited FP without the use of healing of FP pots. It increases our casting speed by 40, which is also phenomenal. Increases our stamina recovery as well, so we are just able to fire off far more spells in a far greater amount of time. We do lose our HP, but because of the FP recovery, we shall be able to use more healing flasks as opposed to the FP flasks, so that should help us in managing our health a bit better, as well as using our defensive remnants that we have. Alright, and with that enchanted remnant we can get another useful defensive talisman. And we could either go for non-physical or physical damage negation. Considering the enemies ahead, probably non-physical would be best, since we have to deal with things like lightning and black flame and holy damage, so I think non-physical will be the best way to go here. And there you can see we lose quite a good portion of our health, but the added benefits should hopefully outweigh the differences. And here we go. It's time to fight Fortisax. And that one hit us quite hard. And this is why we got for more healing flasks. So that he would not be so dangerous for us. Let us reapply our Armor of Rhine. Very important for a defensive utility. Very good range on our Ice Crag Spear. Being able to snipe his head is certainly an advantage for us. And there we go, Tarnished. There is our third keystone of the Forge. And with that, we are done here. So now we have to go take on Moog, so we must get to the consecrated snowfield and make our way over to the waygate that will take us there. Unfortunately, he can do nothing here. And we will simply continue to knock him down over and over. Well, what a poor soul. He did not stand a chance. Honestly, a pretty pathetic performance from him. He should feel bad about it. Alright, and here we are in Mogwyn's palace. Alright, so let's get our buffing spell underway. And let's enter the fray. He walks so slowly, I think we can get 2 moons off at him. We almost were caught there. we are hit by the slam down. We have to go to be far more careful here. Now we will get the Nahil. And yes, we were a bit too shortchanged there. Unable to get enough distance to get a safe heal off. And we played a bit too far into the blood attacks. So we will have to be far more careful. Moog is a very dangerous one. That is so unfortunate that the lingering blood flame of course causes us to bleed and we stagger and we are unable to get out of the range, and so we get hit after the follow-up despite perfectly dodging it, of course, just due to the fact that it is an utterly ridiculous effect that covers the entirety of the field, and we have no way of stopping him from doing it. There is no distance that is safe from this man, I swear. Alright, he's almost finished. A few more hits here. And there we go. You are unbelievable, Moog. And we still only have 4 keys. I'm not sure which other ones we need. I was sure that that one would have given us the 5th. But it seems I was mistaken, so let us see what we would have to fight to get the 5th key here. It might be Placidusax or Melania. No, we have to get to Malekith. Ah, I see. I suppose Malekith is the 5th key. No, we have to get to Faramazula, which I believe can be done a few different ways. Let us go try the 4 belfries. I believe you can get there from one of the towers in the 4 belfries. And this should bring us to Faramazula. Alright, and many of you who are familiar with this game would know that this is where the Godskin duo fight is. But thankfully, it is no longer the Godskin duo fight. They have replaced it with yet another new boss fight. Relatively new, it's familiar, but it is a new boss. Nonetheless, and you will see here in a moment. I cannot believe I got away with throwing that moon again. That was not even what I meant to do there. And we could not get our ice shots off. It is too slow, as it tends to be. Oh, a bit dangerous there. Let's be sure to heal up. And one more should do it. Very nice. A very interesting boss fight. A cool enemy that is rather underutilized in the base game, unfortunately. But they see to it that that is not the case. Alright, got past the bird section, no problem. Well, I lied, there was a problem. Right at the end, because of course there is. I spoke too soon. Why did I say anything at all? That is utterly ridiculous. This game is abysmal. Why is this like this? So let's reapply all of our buffs, take our physic, and head in. That was a bit dangerous. I finally have frostbitten, so that's nice. And there is a second half. And we got very unlucky being hit right at the tail end of that attack. And the destined death effect managed to finish us off. Otherwise, it was going so incredibly well. We were hardly having any trouble at all, but our attack just came out a bit too slow. Alright, a good second half start here. And one more attack should do it. And there is the frostbite proc. Very good. That is all it took to finish him off. I knew it would be not that much of a challenge once we got our feet under us. A very good fight, not a problem at all. So now we can get into the Fire Forge and light the Erdtree aflame as we normally would. We can head into the final battles of the game.
I have long observed the lands between this world and death. Are you to commit? Very well. Let my hand.
And as always, we end up here in the Ashen Capital. And so, coming up here, where we would normally fight Gideon, well, there is a surprise waiting for us, as the Convergence Mond recognized. Gideon is not the most well-liked of the bosses in the game, and so they have made a change. And while Gideon is still here, well, let's just say he won't be for long. Yes, he is essentially the ultimate Crucible Knight. Even able to use just about every Crucible Knight attack. He is very dangerous. especially since he is able to block our projectiles. Makes him a rather troublesome foe. Yet another nice frost proc there. And unfortunately, we take one hit right near the end, and it stops us from completing the fight. That is truly tragic. We were performing so well, but we couldn't quite get out of a awkward predicament there. Alright, let's finish him off here. There we go. Truly incredible. The ability to block all magical projectiles is incredibly infuriating and bothersome. Right, and up first is Godfrey. I believe this fight should go just fine if we are smart. There we go.
Thy strength fits a crown.
Okay? We are getting a bit too close there. Alright, we almost have him now. And let's finish him up here.
Thy strength.
There we go. Not too bad, Horaloo. I would have to agree with you, Horaloo. My strength indeed befits a crown, and I shall be taking it by force. So let's get it done right here now. Right here now, let's finish it. That was an unfortunate grab. Looking good so far, Tarnished. I think we can finish this one off here shortly. And as I live and breathe, of course, we get true comboed into oblivion. I should have known that that's what would have happened. We had all the momentum, it was all going our way, and one fatal slip-up means we lose the entirety of the fight. That is utterly ridiculous. How can we be so terrible as to throw it away? Alright, and here we go, a perfect fight. Now let's head into Elden Beast and get this victory. One of the best things about the Convergence mode is that they allow you to use torrents in the Elden Beast fights, which is very convenient and much nicer than not having it. Alright, that was a bit of a tricky situation, but we got out of that. Our ice shards are doing spectacular damage here. Right, we are going to have to avoid the jumping attack again. 1, 2. Well, we did not avoid it. Of course, there's no way. We don't avoid it and we die. You've got to be kidding me. There is simply no way. Alright, we have no more heals. So we will have to finish this on our own. All right. Just a bit more. Just a little bit more here. One more should do it. And there we go, Tarnished. We clutched it out at the end. No healing, no problem. Ranni the Witch does not fail in her tasks. We always get the job done. We have proven ourselves the greatest cold sorceress in all the lands between. And as is so fitting, we shall complete our Age of Stars and usher in our 1,000-year voyage. Let us enjoy the revelries of victory, my dear Tarnished. The battle is over, I see. I do solemnly swear to every living being and every living soul. Now cometh the age of the stars. 1,000-year voyage under the wisdom of the moon. Here beginneth the chill night that encompasses all, reaching the great beyond. Into fear, doubt, and loneliness, as the path stretcheth into darkness. Well then, shall we? We shall, indeed. My fair consort eternal. And there you have it, Tarnished. We have completed our journey, and we have proven ourselves as the greatest cold sorceress that there ever was. There may have been doubters. There may have been those who did not see it fit possible. But I have proven them once again that Ranni the Witch is not to be messed with. I want to thank you, Tarnished, yet again for coming with me on this journey. You have always been there, my fair consorts. So thank you. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting me as we reach our age of stars and once again revel in our victory.
And that will do it for this run. If nothing else, I hope this run showcased just how fantastic the Convergence mod is, and you give it a try for yourself. There's so many other new classes just like this one, and they're all just as fun. I think it would be great to revisit Convergence and try another run with a different class as well sometime. Be sure to let me know in the comments if you like this run, and let me know any other requests you have for future runs. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. It really helps to get these videos out to more people. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next one. But for now, stay maidenless.